All right, everybody, we are live, and sorry for keeping you all waiting. We had some minor technical issues. My computer was acting up. I think it's time I definitely look into a new one. But yeah, I mean, thank you for bearing with us here, and we are ready to kick this off. Today with us, we are basically co-hosting the launch of this amazing integration that we've built and that the Email Bison team has built, that is going to allow users to do multi-channel outbound, both through email and through Aimfox or through LinkedIn. So please join me in welcoming Felipe. Felipe, welcome, and thank you for your patience.
Hey. Thank you so much for having me here. Pleasure to be together again. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, man, I can hear you good now. It's all good. I fixed everything. It was on my side, looks like.
Yeah, that happens. But yeah,
these things happen.
Yeah, it's great to be together again. So yeah, I'm very excited to show the power of LinkedIn and email outreach combined. Obviously, you guys have a lot of experience with this stuff. You've launched integrations with other people as well, but ours is a bit different because ours is very oriented on people who are very serious about outbound, extreme deliverability goals, and also LinkedIn outreach goals. Because you were telling me that you're focusing very heavily on the LinkedIn account rental space, and that means scaling outbound. So just for context, the average Bison client sends hundreds of thousands of emails. And so I assume that if somebody's sending that volume of emails, they probably want to scale their LinkedIn outbound. So I think renting accounts makes a lot of sense for those kind of users.
Yeah, exactly. And so for those of you that don't know, Email Bison is like the top tier emailing sequencer you can find on the market. So you guys, based on what I've seen and based on like community feedback, you guys have the best deliverability, the best overall sequencer, and it's what I've seen. Like all the serious A game, like top tier players are using Email Bison. So like, yes, like as you said, we do have integrations with Instantly, with Smart Lead, with different sequencers. But like, I think what sets this one apart is that maybe you guys are not as mainstream as Instantly is. And by the way, fun fact, guys, Felipe is one of the guys that contributed a lot to the growth of Instantly. So just with him being in Email Bison means Email Bison is on a rocket ship.
Yeah, there are a lot of people there instantly that are, I consider friends and all of that. But obviously, instantly is taking a different trajectory. They're trying to be a product for the masses, and yeah, we're on the other hand with Bison, we're trying to create a more niche product, like focus on people who are very, very focused on deliverability, on using Cloud Code to orchestrate different stuff, and then connecting, like let's say Aimfox API, or I think you guys have an API as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have API, we have an MCP server, we have it all.
There you go.
Like the fun fact is, I was actually saying this on one of my webinars, is that like I think like roughly a third of our user base is using our MCP server. Nice. So it just goes to show like how much how advanced the average user is on Aimfox. And I think that's like where what we have in common with Email Bison is that we are really like focusing on the power users and on just like giving those guys everything they need to do scale.
Yeah, no, absolutely makes sense.
So perfect. Okay. So yeah, I mean, like guys, so like people in the audience, again, sorry for being late. I have a question for the audience. Are you doing emailing? If you are, drop a comment and let us know if you are, because then this is going to be super relevant for you. And basically, so the outline for today's session is going to be, we're going to give a two-sided overview of the integration, meaning we're going to take a look at how the integration works from Email Bison towards Aimfox, and then in the other direction from Aimfox into Email Bison. We're going to talk also after we go over the technical integration, the technical parts. We are going to talk about some use cases that, like, I've seen people really rock with other integrations that provide similar functionalities. So this is going to be interesting, and then we're going to leave time for the Q&A. So guys, feel free to drop in the questions you have in the comments. And then to not disrupt the flow of the conversation, we're going to address the questions at the end of the discussion. So to kick it off, like, Felipe, do you want to start? Like, show how, like, from the email Bison side, like, how this integration looks.
Yeah, absolutely. So can you see my screen, first of all?
And I will add you to stage. And yes, now everybody can.
There we go. So this is how email Bison looks like. And by the way, we are showing here a big dashboard up on the screen with our Aimfox integration and all the documentation right in there. But essentially, this is how it looks like. So when you open your Bison account, the first thing you will see will be your performance, like your campaigns and analytics, right? I'm going to flex a little bit here. So these are my own personal campaigns. So I've sent so far just 10,000 emails, not a lot of emails, but I'm doing some very targeted outreach to, like, go-to-market engineers because the space is very competitive. And so far I've received 500 replies, so 4.7% reply rate in a very competitive space, and a 45% positive reply rate, so 231 replies. So far it's keeping my pipeline and my calendar full, right? Now, if you wanted to use your Aimfox, basically integration, it will work like this. You first go to integrations. On the integration section, you will find a couple of integration partners that we have, like Clay and so on. And then you click here on Aimfox. And when you click on Aimfox, we will show you the step-by-step on how to get it done. It's super straightforward. It's literally go to Aimfox, copy the API key, and then just paste it, and that's it. It's super straightforward. And then you can do also some field mapping. So for example, you can map stuff like certain custom fields, like variables and so on. So every time you push data from email Bison into Aimfox, it's basically populated on the right fields, right? That's it. Super simple. Again, copy paste API keys and then map the right fields, and then you're good to go. So once you are sending a campaign through email Bison, I mean, you can use this integration in two ways. So one of them is through a campaign on email Bison. So you go here to email Bison, then you go to your sequences, right? And then you build any sequence that you want for, sending, like, step 1, 2, 3, whatever it is. And then you go to the settings section, and on the settings section, you will find these integration settings. And there we show you Aimfox integration settings. So it's super simple. It literally says, push non-responsive leads into an Aimfox campaign. So what this does is, if somebody doesn't respond to your cold email campaigns after 3 days, they will be pushed into Aimfox. So that way you can send them a LinkedIn invite or a message or an email, because I think you guys offer, like, multiple ways to engage with people, right? So essentially, if anybody is not converting through cold email, you can push them to a specialized tool for LinkedIn outbound. And then the second way you can use this is through our master inbox. So you go to the master inbox. So whenever you have somebody responding to a campaign of yours, for example, here I'm going to filter by people interested. So let's say I want to make sure that every time I get a positive response, I can connect with them through LinkedIn. So literally I just click here on push to Aimfox, and that's it. So what's going to happen is this person is going to receive an invite or a message or whatever you have built in on Aimfox. So it's super straightforward, like I said, like non-technical at all. So yeah.
I mean, honestly, yeah. I mean, this is pretty similar to how we've set it up, and that's where most of the value. Like, if you would ask me, like, where the bulk of the value is, I always say it's in basically squeezing all the juice out of your existing lead list. So if you've already put all of this hard work into building a list, making all of this custom copy, filtering, scoring the leads, all of that stuff, you send the emails, and if you're as good as Felipe, you're going to get a 4.5% reply. what even if you get 5, 6, 7% replies, which I've seen people do with Bison, you're still leaving like 90+% of the list on the table, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not gonna get a 30% reply rate. And this doesn't mean that these leads are not a good fit. It just means that they didn't get to your email, they didn't reply. So push lead to Aimfox, that's where it brings value if the lead doesn't reply. Because then all of a sudden you've exhausted your emailing possibilities with your lead list, and you still have like 95% of the lead list untouched. And you're gonna still be able to get probably 8 to 12% reply rates from that remaining lead list that you were not able to get to through email. So that's why these two systems work so well together. And if you want, I can go ahead now and I can show you basically how this looks on the Aimfox side, right? So I'll go ahead and I'll share my screen. And again, the logic is pretty simple. So let me just share screen here. All right. Okay, so I'm in my workspace. Again, I'm not doing anything super crazy, but yeah. So the goal of Aimfox, obviously, we give you a bunch of different options: view profiles, send connection invites, they get accepted. You send messages to leads that accept those connection invites, or you send in mails to leads that you skip sending a connection invite, and you get replies. And you on Aimfox, you manage all of that through your campaign. For example, here, these are my active campaign. I have a competitor campaign going, and this campaign has for example, a 36% acceptance rate, and you can see about a 10% reply rate based on the invites sent. So 10% reply rate from the total number of invites sent. If you look at it just from accepted, it's going to be like 30%. So that is like where LinkedIn really plays a nice role. Now, how do you push leads? So Felipe showed you how you can push leads from Email Bison to Aimfox, but I'm going to show you how you can send leads from Aimfox back into Email Bison, and how you can pull lead lists from Email Bison directly within Aimfox. So first, again, like to set up the integration, very simple. You go here, Email Bison. It's already connected here, API key, and you're done. It's like 2 clicks. It's in the integration section here. And first, I'm going to show you how you pull a list directly from Email Bison. And here you go into the CRM campaigns here that we have. And so the first thing you do on Aimfox is you choose which LinkedIn accounts you want to use for outreach. And then you say, okay, like maximum number of targets, here it's set to 10,000. And I'm going to name this Email Bison Webby. Okay. And basically here you're able to select a platform from which you want to pull leads. So we have Instantly, we have Smart Lead, and we have Email Bison. And basically here you are going to select a source from Email Bison you're going to use. Now here we have some test ones, but it's very simple. You just select a source, a list you want to use from Bison, and you give us the name of the URL variable column. So we know where to find the link, and that's it. And we're going to pull the lead list directly from Bison. What this does is like it saves you some time in a sense where you can always just export from Bison and then do a custom list campaign, right? And just import your own list. This is just a smoother way if you want to like natively pull lists without having to do exports. And now that's for pulling data from Email Bison into Aimfox. And now I'm going to show you how to send lead data from Aimfox into Email Bison. So here in your Aimfox account, you have your leads. Now, for those of you who are using Bison, let's define leads really quickly. Leads are first-degree connections from connected LinkedIn profiles. And here you can say, you can have different lead origins. They can be originating from different campaigns that you've done, outreach campaigns that you've done, or from different locations or past companies that they work at. We give you a lot of ways to filter all of the first-degree connections. Once you pick your list that you have, you're going to get a list of leads here. And here you're going to have an option to export these leads into Email Bison, Instant or Smart Lead. But here this is going to allow you to send leads directly into Email Bison from basically Aimfox. Now, you can do all of this through API as well. And what's going to be changing on Aimfox is that we are actually preparing, in the next few weeks, we're launching a big revamp of like how we look at lists and campaigns. So that's something we're going to be doing a separate webinar about when we launch it. But the experience is going to be more similar to emailing sequencers, where you're actually going to be like building your lists as opposed to building your list through campaigns, what you currently do. But yeah, I'm not going to get into that now. But this was a quick rundown of what it looks from both directions. So guys, now is the time. If you have questions, shoot them in the comments. Me and Felipe, we're going to talk about some use cases that we see performing well. And then we can tackle a few questions from the comments.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like the integration is easy to set up. As I said, like the biggest, you brought up the question of like you brought up the topic of like renting LinkedIn profiles to scale the campaigns. So like the first use case we talked about, it's like, yeah, you have 95% of the list that didn't reply to your email. But the big problem is going to be that, like, how are you going to send 2,000 connection requests per day through LinkedIn? And that's kind of the main thing that Aimfox is solving, is that like we want to give you the option, like bringing a lot of that like emailing methodology, where you you rent, you get Google Workspaces, you get mailboxes, with custom domains that redirect, and then you scale your outbound volume. We want to do the same thing with the profile rental. So you can customize these accounts, you can brand these accounts, and then you can use them to scale your campaigns. And we have teams that are reaching out to thousands of leads per day and getting hundreds of replies per day.
Yeah.
So
I honestly don't know anybody doing that. Like, I think if I tried doing it myself, so I tried renting a LinkedIn account in the past and then connecting it to, a LinkedIn sequencer, if that's the name, how you call your, those tools. Yeah. But it's painful. It's not easy. But you integrate into a one-click process, which makes people's lives much easier. It's almost like when people couldn't buy email accounts through resellers, and so they had to manually buy email accounts in the past and then put their phone number for every account. I think you probably solved that problem, and you're the first ones to do it. So how is that product doing, by the way? Like I think you told me that it's growing really well.
So the product, like the avatars side of the product is doing good. We have a lot of things that we are building now. Like we want to make the whole experience like in app. So right now the way it works is like you make your order inside the app, and then you get a customization form. You fill out this customization form, and then our team manually makes the adjustments. The next update we have coming up is we're like inside the app, instead of Aimfox, we're going to give you the option to, through API, automatically make changes on all of your profiles.
Nice.
And that's going to remove so much friction for us, because right now, we're like just like scrambling to like make all the edits, make sure we get everything right. This way, like we're going to be giving the user the option just to do everything themselves.
Right.
And so that's the next big step that we have coming up.
Okay, that's awesome. So I think what could be good is maybe we can answer some questions from the crowd,
Yeah.
but also it would be cool to talk about some real life use cases on how to use the two tools combined. So let me read some of the questions here from the chat. So
which one do you want to go for? And you can feature it here. Just click show.
Yeah, we're seeing some familiar faces like Anthony Valtorano from Mission Inbox. Great guy. I love that guy. He's always sharing deliverability tips, so you should follow him on LinkedIn if you're not. But yeah, this person, for example, he's saying, Roy Riper, I love to see Felipe's cold email sequence, 4.5%. Yeah, it's outstanding. Okay, that's interesting. So how about we do this? I'm going to show you my process, and I will also show you how you can include Aimfox into the process, because I'm going to do that myself. So yeah, let's do that.
Let's see it.
Let me share my screen. So don't share this with my competitors, because obviously they will want to get the same 4.7% reply rate, and we don't want that, right? So yeah. Okay, so essentially, what I'm doing is, as you can see, instantly followers. So I'm scraping my competitors' followers and all of that. So I'm doing a bit of everything.
we all do that. Like,
we all do.
Some of my campaigns, I'm doing the same things.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not scraping your followers.
Okay, good. So we all what I do primarily here is, so the first thing, actually, the first thing you need to do is understand really well who your ICP can be, right? So that's why, for example, I scrape my competitors' followers, like the ones that I know they will be connected with the people that could buy my product, right? I also will scrape LinkedIn, for example, and then enrich that data with Clay, right? For example, this one is called Enrich with Clay. For example, I will scrape outbound agencies through various other sources, like some of the best tools for data right now. AI Arc, great guys. AI Arc are just amazing. We might do a webinar with them at some point. And if you don't know them, Alex, I'm happy to introduce you them to their founder, Elias. Like, they're fantastic guys. Like they had an agency, or they have an agency with 50 clients. And so they build this data product to save on cost for data. And they spend like $1 million building this product, very similar to what you guys did. You spend so much money building this product and so much time. I think they've been building it for already 2 years, which is insane. And now they're finally launching it. So they really polish the data aspect of it. And so AI Arc, great tool. And then you have a new category of tools that work based on an API, so you don't really have an interface, and you can get essentially unlimited data. Blitz API, fantastic tool. Antoine, the founder, really good guy. And there are a couple of them. I know that Adam Robinson is launching something similar called Molsets. I still want to give it a try to see how it is, but it looks very promising so far. But yeah, let's say you have all of your data, right? And then you understand your ICP. So this is how I operate in my campaigns. First off, I make sure my deliverability is really good and healthy, right? And also, just to rewind, make sure your data has LinkedIn profiles, because again, we're gonna do a email plus LinkedIn campaign. So you need to have your LinkedIn profile so they work on Aimfox. And I think, Alex, can you guys enrich emails and get their people's LinkedIn profiles? I think
we don't do on platform. We don't do any sort of enrichment.
Okay. Yeah, I think you mentioned to me that at some point you want to do something like
that. At some point, but like we're not like it's not like on the 3-month roadmap. It's going to be closer towards the end of the year.
Yeah, well, that's what Clay is for and all of those tools. But yeah, let's say you have really good data, emails, LinkedIn profiles, and all of that, well segmented, well sourced. This is how I did my own campaigns. So obviously, verify your leads, make sure they're clean. Ideally, use a standard email verifier like Million verifier and so on, and a catch-all verifier. Bounce ban, list mint, and no to bounce are the ones that, after testing so many verifiers, are the ones that work the best. So again, combine a standard verifier plus a catch-all verifier, so that way you can recover as many as possible. Now, once you prepare your campaign, obviously make sure you have good copy. I recommend people testing different variants and different types of copy. I'm doing just one copy because I already polished my copy so much that this just works, right? And this is what I'm sending on my emails. There we go. So by the way, this photo with me and the eagle, I was just testing something. So it's not part of the campaign. I just realized now that I have it there because I was playing with the HTML fields. But yeah, just random photo. But this is how my emails look like. I make sure the subject line is relevant to whoever I'm targeting. And this also applies for LinkedIn outreach, guys. Like if you're sending emails through LinkedIn, don't send just generic stuff like quick question or like whatever. That used to work like 2 years ago, but today, like the attention span of people is so short. Everyone is on Netflix, on Instagram. So you're competing against people's attention everywhere. So make sure your subject line stands out. Here on my email body, I'm telling people, I'm soft pitching Bison while at the same time delivering value. So I'm telling people, hey, an outbound expert conducted a study on email deliverability and sequencers. In his study, he saw 2 times more replies using Bison, and your current sequencer is probably in the analysis. Will you like the analysis? So here, it's a no-brainer for people because I'm literally telling them, look, I'm not asking for your time. I'm not asking for 30 minutes of your time. I'm not telling you, sign up to my product here, whatever. No, it's like, hey, would you like a free study on email deliverability, which is obviously a subject that for go-to-market engineers is very relevant. And on top of it all, I'm telling people, look, I know you're using a competing product of mine. They're probably not performing so well. Would you like to have a look? And so you're creating that curiosity. You're making them feel like, is there anything I'm missing out here? And obviously, there's a picture of me with an eagle. Don't put that on your cold emails. I mean, give it a test. Who knows? Put the picture of me with the eagle, and maybe that might work. But I don't recommend it. And use my signature short and sweet. On the link down below, I put a space here, and that's on purpose. It's for the spam filters not to flag any links on my email. So I do text only. At least on the first email, and boom. So how did this campaign perform specifically? So let's check it out. I sent it a while ago. I'm actually preparing some new batches of campaigns, but I think this was.
By the way, I prepared some things I want to show in the background as well.
Oh yeah.
Because you said you never saw people sending thousands of connection requests per day and getting hundreds of replies. So I pulled up some customer data, actual users, and I've blurred stuff out. So
nice. All right, I'm about to finish here. So. Yeah, so this campaign, 4.9% reply rate, 42% interest or reply rate. So how will I use Aimfox with this? And I'm going to start doing it with my future campaigns now that we have the integration. Anytime somebody responds to my campaign, so all of these 118 people, I will send them a LinkedIn invite. So that way they can see my content. I can nurture those people, right? Now, if you have the rental profiles for Aimfox, you can contact all of these 2,200 people that didn't respond, right? And that would be amazing as well, right? But that would be just me. That's my process, at least, how I got these reply rates. And like always, deliverability is a moving target. So it's not just copy and paste my strategy. It's going to work. It obviously, I just super summarize it. I made a super summary here.
Yeah. If you want, like I can show you. So I pulled up some data, like a good example of a user that is running 50 rental profiles on from us on Aimfox, obviously, and I can show you some of their data from live campaigns. I took screenshots just so I don't want to disclose like data privacy and stuff. So I'm just showing you numbers, right? So I'm going to share my screen just for you guys to see. I'll just do entire screen. It should be fine. All right. Okay, so you guys should be seeing my screen. So are you seeing the analytics overview here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So basically here they're running with 50 rented profiles, and you can see that they're sending anywhere from 1,400 to 2,000 connection invites per day. So that's 2,000 leads or 1,500 to 2,000 new leads contacted every day. Acceptance rates, you're going to see that they're getting a solid, let me see, 7,000 divided by 32,000, 21% connection rate. Not great, not terrible.
Yeah.
Acceptance rate. And okay,
is there a rate that LinkedIn will flag you as like you're spamming people. Like
Not
something.
really. We haven't really seen that. So like, there are a lot of assumptions that we can make. But like honestly, as I was just saying earlier on the call, like I hate making assumptions without data.
Mhm.
I don't have
Yeah.
data to prove that, right?
Yeah.
So there isn't like a minute, like on emails, you have like a minimum rate where you just get banned. Not that
Yeah.
we've seen numbers back.
And I notice here like ups and downs. Is it because you guys are humanizing the sending pattern so LinkedIn
It's
doesn't see
not.
like? Oh, okay.
So it's not. Basically, so these are the invites that are being
Okay.
sent. This is based on the scheduled number of interactions and based on the connected number of profiles. So this is a settings preference thing, depending on how many interactions you set on an account to do.
Right. Okay.
So they get the connection requests get accepted, and then you send messages to those that get accepted. So you're sending like 1,500 to 1,800 messages per day to new leads, and from that you're getting the replies. And here you can see these guys like at peak are getting like close to 300 replies per day.
Nice.
And on a bad day, they're getting 150 replies per day.
I wouldn't mind 150 replies daily.
Well, but that brings issues of itself, because like, how do you reply to that? So then a lot of people are like through NA10 or through Claude are like building like custom agents. These guys are that reply to all of your messages. Like, and one of the good things with Aimfox is that like our inbox sync is instant. So there is no delay in messaging, which really enables this to work smoothly. So, so this is like an example of like a relatively high volume space. And I actually did the math. I did the math, like what's it costing them per reply? Because when you look at the numbers here, you see that they have a 7% reply rate. When you look at all contacted leads, so from the list, 7% reply rate. And the math is it costs them about $1.2 to get a reply.
Right. Right.
Interested or not interested. So a reply, $1.2. So like that's, I mean, like email, like cold email can be cheaper than that, but like I think that like that's like $1 to $3 per reply is what we usually see people get with avatars. So like there I'm including all the fees they pay Aimfox divided by the number of replies that they get, basically.
Yeah. No, that's actually a really good way to tell people if a channel is worth it or not, because then you have to calculate your own funnel. Like, okay, out of those replies, how many ended up booking a call? And then out of those who booked a call, how many ended up being interested? And out of the interested, how many ended up actually purchasing, right? So that's something that I would say the majority of people don't do. And now it's so easy to calculate. Like ChatGPT, Claude Code. It's like, here is my CRM data. Here are the number of leads or calls I book, and then you start calculating funnels. And then you can start projecting. Like, I think there are a lot of people that they leave a lot of money on the table because they could be scaling their outbound, since their cost for acquiring new clients are still like between ranges where it's worth it, and they just don't know because they never done the math. And possibly there is people the other way around. Maybe they are overspending on certain marketing channels, but when the ROI maybe is not there, right? So I think that's something I think more people should be doing. Yeah, that's a great tip.
100%. Like, and because like we get a lot of times we get feedback, like, like $129 per month per LinkedIn profile. It's expensive. It's like compared to like emailing, like you're like a mailbox costs you like $3, right?
Yeah.
Like you're like, well, this is like 50 times or 45 times the price. But then like that's why I said, like, just break down the numbers. Like I can show you data that shows how much it costs, and if it makes sense for you, it makes sense. In some cases, it's not going to make sense. In a lot of cases, it is. But like it's all about the numbers, and that unlocks scale, because then you're like, okay, like I have a formula that works. Then like you're ready to scale it.
Yeah, but look, honestly, like one thing I love about Bison customers is that they know more about cold email than what I do. Like they are like cold email pros. So they buy thousands of email accounts and hundreds of or thousands of domains. So they know that you cannot compare like 1 or 10 email accounts to one LinkedIn profile. It's like a whole different game. So thankfully, you should not have that problem with your customers. They're very well-educated people. So, but yeah. So what about? You go for it. Yeah, you go for
All
it.
right. I was gonna tackle one question here. If you're okay with taking it,
Yeah.
talk about email personalization options for email Bison, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's gonna cost you $500 for 30 minutes, and I will share my secret sauce. But yeah.
Drop the link.
Yeah. Here's my affiliate link. Now, look, we don't do any personalization. So Email Bison doesn't personalize your messages. You can, however, bring a personalized variable that you can insert on Email Bison, very similar to how Aimfox works. So you personalize the message somewhere else, you bring that variable into Email Bison or Aimfox, and then the message is being sent out. But we don't have an AI that personalizes the messages. So the copy I shown you, for example, where I was doing spin tags and variables and all of that, I already prepared that using something else. So how do I prepare my personalized copy? Very simple. First, again, I understand my audience. And if you still don't know what your audience wants or needs or whatever, there are a couple of ways I recommend you doing that. Record your calls using Fireflies or using any of those tools. Talk to people, understand why are they booking a call with you? What is a burning pain point right now? Why are they purchasing the product, or why are they not purchasing your product? Scrape the reviews from G2 or other review platforms from your competitors. And then when you scrape all of the data, you can just run it through Claude or ChatGPT and just ask it to analyze it all for you. So you analyze all of that data, the recorded calls, the reviews online, any interaction that you have, or your CRM data, and then you start crafting a message around that. Again, using Claude Code or ChatGPT, and then you ask it. Okay, you are an expert on outbound, and you want to target people that have a very short attention, and they're always being bombarded by cold emails that look and feel the same. So based on all of these pain points from all of this data, the recorded calls, the CRMs, the reviews, give me a few ideas that you think will stand out and make them interested into engaging with me. I don't want to go for the kill on the first email. Okay, so that's how your prompt should look like. I don't want to just go and hard pitch my product. You have 30 minutes to talk. Nobody has 30 minutes to talk. People will rather, be swiping on Tinder or just watching Netflix than having a 30-minute call with you. Reality check. I'm sorry, but that's how life works. But if you are able to deliver value to them and tell them, look, if you engage with me, I'm going to give you a lot of value that could help you grow your business, right? So you need to convince them why they should keep talking to you, how to nurture that. And then you take those ideas and you start creating what we call relevant copy. So today is not just about personalization, it's about how relevant you are to someone, right? And obviously you can still personalize a message further, like you can scrape their engagement on social media and then make copy based on that. But I will prioritize how relevant you are to someone over personalization. I recommend personalization as a second layer, as an extra thing to do. And then you basically, you're like crushing it. If you do both, then when somebody reads an email, they're like, oh, this is meant for me. This is like, it's perfect for my business and me as a person. And if you want to do personalization, there are tools like Twain. Mo from Twain, fantastic guy. And he's a Bison customer, by the way. You also have Octave. Octave is a slightly more technical. Obviously, you have Claude if you want to like personalize at scale. And I'm probably missing one more, but Twain and Octave, fantastic tools for personalization. They make it very easy. So go check them out.
I was like, that's actually like, for those people that joined me last week when I did a webinar with the Trigify, that's what like we talked about, like, relevance over personalization. Because like, how relevant is your offer to your list? Like back to what you were showing, like, if you scrape leads if you scrape followers of your competitors, well, that's a good fit. And like, and like I was like another thing that I prepared in the background, like because you made me, because like I was like, oh, like I saw us doing like relative similar strategies. And here I'm going to just show the audience. And I mean, again, I have no problem showing it. So SL means sorry, what was I going to do? Yeah, smart lead. SL is smart lead. So through Aimfox, I was able to scrape followers of Smart Lead company page.
By the way, every time you say smartly, you have to do a push-up.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. And this is what I did. So like here I did a campaign, like I 3,500 people. I sent 3,500 invites. A third of them roughly got accepted, so a little better acceptance rates. And we got 216 replies. And if you get 216 replies, it means that there is relevance, right? Like the reply rate the message is sent is like 30%, right? So like when you're getting those kind of numbers, like that means that you have the relevance that you are looking for. And honestly, like for the campaigns that we do, I never did any crazy personalization, because for me it was just kind of too much work. Like it was like I would always focus on building the list and like getting like relevance over personalization. So that's kind of like just for me to double down like on what you said.
Yeah, beautiful. Love it.
Cool. Yeah, man. Like I think this is a good chat. Like, I mean, we could go on and on forever. We're already over 40 minutes in, and I see we have people consistently hanging in and listening to this. So I think they're appreciating the value drops. But yeah, I mean, we can slowly bring this to a wrap. We will be sharing a recording of this. By the way, guys, any last minute questions? Now is the time to go for it. And we will be sharing documentation on how to do the integration in case anything is not clear. So knowledge-based articles. After the call, we will be sharing a recording of this webinar as well. And we'll also be doing from Aimfox side, we will be doing a special promo where every email Bison customer is going to get a 50% discount for the first 3 months. So
can I use a discount too?
I'll give you 55. Yeah.
Nice, right. I want it equal, but 50%, that's a beautiful discount.
50% for 3 months. That's what you get from us. If you're an email Bison customer, you just ping our team. And we will set you up. And yeah, and for those of you people here in the audience that are using Aimfox and are not using Email Bison, if you think Email Bison is for you, and again, Email Bison is not for like the average Instantly customer. Email Bison is for the power users, and you guys are very strict with whom you work. You vet your users. Yeah. You don't want anybody who's just going to pay $500 a month. Yep. And I think that's very important. So I just want people to know, like, if you're ready to if you're a pro user, if you're a power user, if you want to get like the best possible experience with Email Bison, you're not going to have fancy copy personalization options. You're not going to have an AI chatbot, I think, that handles your replies. But you're going to have the best emailing sequencer on the market that does pretty much only that, but it does it better than any other tool on the market. And then on top of it, you can integrate it into your stack with Claude, with Clay, with N8N, with whatever you are using. Yeah. So no, I hope I did you guys justice in terms of explanation, but that's how I see Email Bison.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. So, and obviously, if you're coming recommended by Aimfox, we are more likely to approve you in our warmer pool. We have a very selective warmer pool, but that's actually a good sign for us. It means you've been in the outbound space for a while. So we're trying to create
about the warm-up pool, because I've heard wonders about it, and we get asked about people all the time, like, "Hey, should I use the Instantly or the push-up warm-up pool?" Yeah, and so yeah, this is a question for me, like. How is your warm-up pool different, and what makes it cleaner and like better than the other warm-up pools?
Yeah, I mean, it's simple, and there is a fundamental issue. Whenever you let anybody into anything, the quality is going to dilute. So let's say Harvard at some point, they say anybody can come and study, right? Then it's no longer going to be Harvard. It's just going to be, like just average, or because anybody can just join. So the reason why they're so selective is so when there is an engagement between the students, it's always a very high quality intellectual conversation. So it's the same with email warm-up pools. If you have really high quality domains and senders, the engagement on the warm-up pool is also going to be very high quality. So that's why, unfortunately, somebody has to do it, and that's why we do it. We double check every person who joins our warm-up pool. We have a call with them where we ask them what their goals are, how they're operating currently, and so on. And then we decide whether they are a good fit for a warm-up pool or not. Unfortunately, we don't let everybody in, and we have to, send a lot of people to Instantly and Smartly. But that's because they accept everybody. They don't care about who joins their warm-up pool, and that's fair. I mean, they are products for the masses, and that they are great for that, right? So we do send them a lot of clients. But what we're trying to create here is something unique. It's a really high quality warm-up pool. So whenever somebody is very serious about deliverability, they usually just come to us, and that's our promise to them. We're not going to have like an all-in-one tool that has like a CRM and a Clay alternative for waterfall data and an AI agent and any of those things, right? Or a LinkedIn outbound product, built-in product. No, we will not have any of that, because we rather integrate with people who are pros at what they do, because we want to be the best at deliverability, and then we want to integrate with the best people at LinkedIn outreach, which is why we also haven't integrated with every single tool. I get pinged like at least once a month by a new provider that is doing LinkedIn outreach, and I tell them, look, man, unless you've proven me that you have a solid process and all of that, yeah, I don't know if I want to integrate with you. But with Aimfox and Alex, I've been in his office, and how many people you have in your team? Is like 60 people, and you're doing other things, of course, but you've been in the LinkedIn and in the social media automation game for like 7 years. So like you're a veteran at this point.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think the landscape is changing a little bit now with AI, but we're getting just so much more output, but still the team is pretty big, and we've been in the space for a long time. And with that, I'm kind of privileged. I mean, it was like a nice, very nice validation when we said, okay, like we're doing an email, Bison wants to do an integration, because I know how meticulous you guys are. And being in a very select circle of tools you integrate with is good, and it's for the best kind of users. And with that, I mean, Felipe, thank you again for taking the time out. We can do something again when we build some stuff up, and show some live data to users. Because I think it's going to work very well.
I want to start showing people how my campaigns look like now that I'm doing both LinkedIn and so the next one could be around that, like the results I got.
Awesome.
So yeah, I love, by the way, how you combine your shirt with the Aimfox colors, like the orange one. So
did that? Oh yeah. All right. Yeah, I did that on purpose, obviously.
Yeah, of course. All right. Thank you so much for having us today and for taking the time to watch. And we'll see you in the next one.
And thank you everybody for joining. Thank you. Have an awesome rest of the week.
Bye-bye.